Welcome to Code Station.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Ultimate Kotlin tutorial. This is episode 10 where we are learning about functions. If you have missed out on the first few episodes, make sure to check them out first. But without any further ado, let's begin. Today's agenda will be basic function and other functions. So what exactly is a basic function? A basic function is nothing but a block of code that is used to perform a certain action or a function. This block of code can have any function from adding, subtracting, or multiplying or anything else. This function is reusable. That means it can be reused as number of times as possible. That is how a basic function works. Let's learn about the basic processing of a function. So what a function does? A function takes input from the user. It works on the input and makes an output based on the input. So whatever the input is, that like for example, if the input is 10 and 2, and we want to add these two numbers, output should be 12, right? So that is what a function does. The processing part is the function what it does. After processing the output, it returns the output back to the user. That is how a function works. Let's learn about the syntax of a function. Syntax of a function is very easy. So fun stands for function name, where the function name is given by the developer, and the two parameters or many number of parameters that we can put inside the function. Then it has a return type, that means it can return an integer value, string value, or anything else. By default, the return type is unit, that means we do not return anything. Then we have the basic code inside the brackets and the return result or the result that is generated by the function. That is how a function works theoretically. Let's understand how the function works practically inside the code. Okay, so now we are inside the code. So to understand the concept of functions, let's make a function to add two numbers. So how we can do that? Now this is our main function, right? We cannot do anything to this, but what we can do, we can create a next new function, a user defined function like us. So let's create a function addition in bracket. Let's get two inputs like a integer, b integer. Okay, so these are the two functions that we have made. Now after we have put these two parameters to our addition function, let's use those parameters to return an output. So as you can see, let's create a var sum is equals to a plus b, right? So we have created addition a plus b inside the function addition. Now let's return this sum to the user back again. So I've return sum, but as you can see, it is giving me error because we have not defined a return type as I told you about in the syntax, right? So as you can see now, after I've given the int as a return type, we are able to get through this program without any errors. So now let's call this addition function inside our main method or main function. So how we can do that? Let's type addition in bracket 10 comma 20 for example. So the output should be 30, right? But since this is returning a value, we need to also create a variable val result is equals to addition, right? So after we have returned the variable, returned the answer inside the result variable, let's print the result variable using the println statement, println result. So we have printed the result. Now if I run this, the output should be 30. As you can see, the output is 30. That is how a basic return type function works. But now that is a basic return type function of addition statement. But what if I want to add a function or write a function to determine if the given number is an even number or an odd number? So how we can do that? So let's create a function even odd. Okay. So now let's take an input like for example num of type integer. Okay. Now inside this function, let's make a value which will store the value, like if it's even it will store true or even, or if it's false it will store odd. So how we can do that? We can do that by creating a variable or var variable called as result equal to if the num percent 2, or this is called modulo. This operator is called modulo, as we learned in our first few episodes. If you have missed out of them, make sure to check them out. So num percent or modulo 2 is equals to 0. If this value is 0, then put even, else else odd. So what exactly this statement is doing? So it is checking that if the num or the input that we have given, if it is divisible by 2 and the remainder comes out as 0, then the number is even. If it is not, it will go to else statement and it will print out odd. This is how we write a simple if else using our Kotlin language. So now that we have done that, let's print this result. So we have printed this result. Now it's time to call this function inside our main method. So I'll get rid of this and let's call the function even odd and give a number as 10 for example. Okay, and let's also give one more number as 11. So if I run this, it should print even and odd. As you can see, it has printed even and odd. That is how a function works when we do not return any type. Now as you can see, we have not returned this return type as int over here, right? So if I do it over here like string, now it will ask me to return a type, but I'm not returning any type right now. So I'll have to do it like this: return result, and then get rid of this. And now I'll have to store this even odd inside a variable val result 1 equals even odd and val result 2 equals even odd 2. So if I print both of these now, result 1 and result 2. So if I print this now, it will give me the same output, but here we are returning a type. By default, the type is unit. As you can see, if I do this, and then if I also again print instead of doing result, as you can see, it is the unit that we are returning is coming out as gray, because Kotlin is telling us that this is redundant, because it's understanding without having a return type, it understands by default that the return type is unit. So it's saying it is redundant to type this inside the function statement. Okay, so these became our basic functions, how the basic function works. But what if I want to write this whole function in one line itself? So we can do that inside Kotlin. Kotlin has given us something called as one line functions. So how we can use them? So instead of writing these braces and everything, let's just directly put an equal to sign, equal to a plus b. So if I do this and if I get rid of all these statements over here, as you can see there is no error. And if I call these functions now, I'll get rid of this and I'll just use this as again. And if I call this function now, it will again give me the same output as before, that is 30, because we are simply doing the same thing but in one line. That is something called as one line function inside Kotlin. Okay, so these are one line functions, but what if I want to have some default values? For example, if while giving the parameters, if the user does not give any parameter to the function, it should have some default values, right? So to get those default values, what we can do is let's create a function to, for example, count or print a statement a number of times, right? So let's create fun. I'll get rid of this actually. Let's create function count print in bracket count of type integer, right? And then okay, now that we have done this, let's create a simple for loop like for I in 1 to count. So it will iterate from 1 to the number of counts. So let's print ln hello $I. So if I now call this functions count print, let's give for example 3, and if I run this now, it will do hello 1, hello 2, hello 3. Am I right? Yeah, it is doing that. But what if the user does not put any value? So it will not run, right? It will give an error. So what I can do here, okay, I can give a simple default value like inside the function parameters, you can give is equals to 2. So even if the user does not give any parameters, it will still give a output that is hello 1 and hello 2. As you can see, the output is same. This is when the user gives a parameter that is called as arguments, and when when it's inside the function, it's called a parameter. That is how it works. And what you can do is let's reuse this count print as count print 3. And if I run this now, it will do hello 123 and hello 12. As you can see, the output is hello 123 and hello 12. This is called as default parameters or default values that we can set to a functions inside Kotlin. Okay, and one more thing to notice that these parameters are a val type of variable. It is not a it's not a var type of variable. It's a val type of variable. That means if I try to reassign this count inside the function, it will not work. As you can see, it is giving me the error val cannot be reassigned, that we also get when we define a val variable. But whereas if this is var, we would have been able to reassign these count or these parameters inside the function. That is it for the functions in Kotlin. Thank you for watching. Bye bye. See you the next time. Peace out.